What are you doing with these papers?
I was wondering why some paper turns yellow so quickly and some still appears white. I don't want my works and notes to become yellow so quickly.
I see. I remember acid paper turns yellow more quickly because acid deteriorates the fiber in the paper.
So, is there any method we can do to prevent the yellowing rate to slow down in the paper?
Acid-free paper is produced by adding calcium hydrogen carbonate to neutralize the acid in the paper. Acid-free paper is standardized to have a pH between 6 and 7. Hydrogen carbonate in the paper is then dried to become calcium carbonate.
I see. So, if we can test out the amount of calcium carbonate in the paper, we can find out which of the paper turns yellow quickly so that we can choose a better paper sample. In this reaction, we are going to determine the concentration of calcium ions in the paper sample.
This reaction requires the following materials: 0.08 molar of EDTA solution, hydroxynaphthol blue as the indicator, 5 molar of sodium hydroxide solution, 2 molar of dilute hydrochloric acid. Different types of paper samples including mimeograph paper, white A4 paper, brown drawing paper, rice drawing paper, and baking paper.
First, weigh about 3 grams of the paper into a small beaker. Add about 10 milliliter dilute hydrochloric acid and allow the solid to completely dissolve.
Then neutralize the unreacted acid with dilute sodium hydroxide solution until the pH value of the solution is above 7. Transfer the solution to a 100 milliliter volumetric flask and fill with distilled water.
Pipette a 10 milliliter sample solution to a conical flask. Titrate the sample with the EDTA solution until there is a color change from purple to blue. Record the amount of EDTA solution used. Repeat the titration to obtain the average amount of EDTA solution used to obtain a more reliable result.
Repeat the experiment with different paper samples.
The reacting ratio of EDTA and calcium ion is 1:1. So by calculating the number of mole of EDTA used in the titration, we can obtain the number of mole of calcium ion present in the paper.
Since the mole ratio of calcium ions to carbonate ions in calcium carbonate is 1:1, therefore the number of mole of calcium ions equals to the number of mole of carbonate ions in the paper.
The results of the experiment are shown. The experiment is carried out based on 2 assumptions. Calcium carbonate is the only source for calcium ions and carbonate ions, and only calcium carbonate reacts with the hydrochloric acid added.
With more carbonate in the paper sample, which means there is less acid in the paper, and the paper is less likely to turn yellow. According to the result, do you know which paper you should use now?
Apparently, I would choose white A4 papers.
Apart from this experiment can be used in daily life to check whether the amount of calcium carbonate in paper as filler matches with the standard to ensure the paper is in appropriate quality.
Fillers are used in paper industries to improve certain physical properties of the paper, including brightness, smoothness, and printability. Some examples of fillers are calcium carbonate, calcium sulfate, and barium sulfate. Calcium carbonate is used in producing alkaline papers.